Babygirl is a romantic drama and psychological story starring Nicole Kidman. The film explores power, ambition, desire, and the emotional consequences of a dangerous relationship. Below is a long narrative-style full story of the movie. The story begins in New York City, where Romy Mathis is known as one of the most powerful women in the corporate world. She is the CEO of a successful technology company and has built a reputation for being brilliant, disciplined, and fearless. People around her admire her intelligence and leadership. In public she appears confident and perfectly in control of her life. At home, Romy lives with her husband Jacob, a respected theater director, and their 2 daughters. From the outside their life seems perfect. They live in a beautiful apartment, attend glamorous events, and maintain the image of a successful and loving family. However, inside Romy feels something missing. Despite her success and stable marriage, she often experiences a quiet sense of emptiness. Romy's life follows a strict routine. She wakes up early, attends high-level meetings, manages global business deals, and constantly makes decisions that affect thousands of employees. Her days are filled with pressure and responsibility. Everyone expects her to be strong all the time. Because of this, she rarely shows vulnerability or emotional weakness. One day, the company welcomes a group of young interns. Among them is a confident and observant young man named Samuel. Unlike the others, Samuel doesn't seem intimidated by Romy's power or reputation. Instead, he watches her carefully, noticing the subtle tension behind her professional smile. Their first interaction is brief but unusual. During a presentation, Samuel asks a question that challenges Romy's perspective. The room becomes silent because no one usually questions her authority so directly. Instead of reacting with anger, Romy becomes intrigued by his confidence. Over the next few weeks, Samuel's presence slowly becomes more noticeable. He is intelligent, curious, and surprisingly bold for someone at the beginning of his career. Romy begins to see him around the office more often, sometimes in meetings, sometimes passing by in the hallway. At first their interactions are strictly professional. Samuel works on projects under different managers, but occasionally he communicates directly with Romy when discussing innovative ideas. During these conversations she begins to sense that Samuel understands something about her that others do not. One evening after a long day at work, Romy stays late at the office. Most employees have already left, and the building is almost empty. As she prepares to leave, she finds Samuel still working at his desk. They begin talking casually about work, ambition, and life goals. The conversation slowly becomes more personal. Samuel admits that he admires her leadership but also senses that being powerful can be lonely. His honesty surprises Romy. Very few people speak to her that way. From that moment, a strange connection begins to form between them. At first Romy tells herself that the relationship is harmless. Samuel is simply a talented intern with an interesting perspective. But their conversations become more frequent. They talk about work pressures, ambition, and the emotional cost of success. Samuel treats Romy differently than others do. Instead of seeing only the powerful CEO, he speaks to her like a normal person. This makes Romy feel something she hasn't felt in years: freedom from the expectations placed on her. At the same time, Romy's personal life begins to feel more complicated. Her husband Jacob is passionate about his theater work, often spending long hours rehearsing with actors. Although they still care about each other, their marriage has become distant. Their conversations focus more on schedules and responsibilities than emotional connection. Romy begins to realize how isolated she has become. Her work demands strength and control, while her family life lacks the excitement and passion she once felt. Meanwhile Samuel becomes increasingly fascinated with Romy. He sees both her power and her hidden vulnerability. Their connection grows stronger, and the boundaries between professional and personal interactions begin to blur. One night after a corporate event, Romy and Samuel share a private conversation that changes everything. The atmosphere between them becomes intense and emotional. For the first time Romy feels a sense of danger mixed with excitement. She knows that any relationship with Samuel could destroy her career and reputation. As CEO, she holds enormous power over the company, and being involved with an intern could create a serious scandal. Despite these risks, Romy cannot ignore the emotional pull she feels toward him. Their relationship develops secretly. They begin meeting privately, sharing conversations that reveal their fears, ambitions, and hidden desires. Samuel challenges Romy's sense of control, encouraging her to explore parts of her personality she has long suppressed. For Romy, the relationship becomes both thrilling and frightening. She is used to controlling every aspect of her life, but with Samuel she sometimes feels vulnerable and uncertain. At the same time, the secrecy of their connection begins to create tension. Romy becomes more distracted at work. Small mistakes start appearing in decisions she normally would handle perfectly. People around her begin to notice changes in her behavior. At home, Jacob also senses that something is different. Romy seems distant and emotionally conflicted. Their conversations become tense, and small disagreements start turning into arguments. Romy finds herself trapped between two worlds, the stable life she has built over many years and the intense emotional experience she shares with Samuel. As their relationship deepens, the risks grow larger. Rumors begin circulating inside the company. A few employees suspect that Romy may have a special interest in one of the interns. Corporate politics also complicate the situation. Some executives already resent Romy's power and success. If they discover any scandal, they could use it as an opportunity to remove her from leadership. Samuel also begins to feel the pressure. Although he cares about Romy, he realizes that their relationship places both of them in danger. The power imbalance between them makes the situation even more complicated. The emotional tension reaches a breaking point when a colleague accidentally sees them together in a suspicious situation. Suddenly Romy realizes how fragile her carefully controlled life has become. Fear and guilt begin to overwhelm her. She starts questioning her choices and wonders whether the relationship was a mistake. The excitement she once felt now mixes with anxiety about losing everything she has built: her career, her reputation, and her family. Samuel also begins to understand the seriousness of the consequences. He never intended to destroy Romy's life, but the connection between them has grown too strong to simply ignore. Eventually Romy faces a difficult decision. She must choose whether to continue the dangerous relationship or protect the life she has spent decades building. After a period of emotional conflict, she realizes that power and success cannot replace honesty and stability. The relationship with Samuel has revealed important truths about her loneliness and desires, but it has also shown the cost of crossing certain boundaries. In the final part of the story, Romy decides to step away from the relationship. It is a painful decision for both of them, but she understands that continuing would only cause more damage. Samuel leaves the company to pursue his own future, carrying the memory of their intense connection. Although their time together was brief, it changed both of them. Romy begins rebuilding her life with a new perspective. She tries to reconnect with her family and reflect on the emotional choices that led her into such a risky situation. The experience forces her to confront her own vulnerabilities and recognize that even the most powerful people can feel lost or lonely. The story ends with Romy standing once again in her office, looking out over the city skyline. She remains a successful leader, but she is no longer the same person she was before. The relationship with Samuel became a turning point in her life, one that exposed her hidden emotions and reminded her that power does not protect anyone from complicated human desires. In the end, Babygirl is not simply a story about romance or scandal. It is a deeper exploration of ambition, control, vulnerability, and the emotional risks people take when searching for connection. The film leaves the audience thinking about the balance between desire and responsibility, showing how a single relationship can change the direction of a person's life forever.